First of all, announcements like this are not happy announcements. I take some personal responsibility for the changes we made 4.5 years ago, and I don't feel bad about it. I think that under Coach Hope's leadership, we did make improvements on every phase of the program, and I think we were starting to see some of the fruits of that work. And particularly if you got to see him from the inside working with the young men, those kinds of leadership experiences he provided for them were truly outstanding. And so I start off tonight by saying that Danny Hope is a good man. He did a great job for Purdue. I never questioned his work ethic, his character. He devoted his life to improving this program. He and I have been together almost 10 years. When you take both stints together, so this was obviously a day that wasn't fun, but it's also a day where we have to understand and be accountable for what our expectations were. We came into the year feeling that we would be an improved football team. I think we were. We said we wanted to reduce the variability of our play so that we were more consistent against all teams in the league, and that we wanted to move up a rung on the ladder. And we clearly did not do that. But I'll tell you, I was, like many of you, I was at the game at Minnesota. We didn't play our best football. I was at the Penn State game here at home, and we didn't play as well as we would have liked. And then for these seniors and these players to come together to build what they did the last 3 weeks, I don't care who you play, when you're on the road in the Big Ten, it's a challenge. And so to me, it's a credit to Danny, to the coaching staff, that they stuck together, that they fought themselves back into contention to have a season where they have that opportunity for the seniors to go out as champions, an opportunity to qualify for another bowl. I've asked Patrick to serve as the interim head coach. Danny or Gary Nord and I talked a little bit about this, and Gary's going to be a senior advisor. He's been the senior advisor to Patrick once before, and obviously we're hopeful that Gary's physical problems will move forward, but Patrick will lead the team during this bowl process, which we would expect to know something probably by next weekend is probably the timeline. Patrick is taking care of getting the team prepared for final exams and for the bowl game. I obviously will turn my attentions to the search. We'll conduct a national search. I can assure you the quarterback position in the cradle will always be at the heart of our thinking. We'll continue to be aggressive offensively, because I think that's part of our tradition, our experience here at Purdue. I cannot give you a timeline as to how quickly we'll be able to go. Some of you have been around this before. These things sometimes come together very quickly, and sometimes they take a little longer. So I'm not going to be giving weekly updates on this situation. We'll come together as a group once we have the announcement made. When that announcement is made, the new coach will not take over for Patrick. Patrick is going to coach the team in the bowl game. So we'll have to deal with that as we get that person on board. So anyway, I think those are my comments, Tom.
Coach Higgins, you want to make a brief statement?
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for this football team to carry on the work that Coach Hope started here 4 years ago, to end the year very strong academically. We're hoping to have our best academic semester since Danny's been here, and also to give these seniors the experience that they deserve. They worked hard the last 3 weeks to get ready to go to a bowl game, so we want to make sure that we can do everything possible that their experience is memorable and also a life lesson for them to learn how to handle difficulties. And that is our main focus for the next month.
Floor to questions. If you'll raise your hand, we'll get a mic up to you. Tanner's got one on the far side, and I've got one over here. Start with Mike.
Just for Morgan, was there a tipping point in this decision for you?
I don't think there's a tipping point.
Okay, I'll go again.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's all right. I guess what message are you sending to the fan base and to everybody with this decision?
I don't know if I'm sending a message to the fan base, as much as I recognize that when you're in a situation, you're not quite over the hump where you want to be, that you know, it's hard to get back up and keep moving forward. And you know, football's an important program for any Division I program, but particularly at Purdue. This will be our 12th bowl game, 16 years. I think Tom and Matt put together some data. I think we're about 5th in the Big Ten. We're right in there. You know, we've had a lot of success, and we've had success in the last 4.5 years under Danny's leadership. And every phase of the program is he's articulated. So I guess what I'm telling the fans is, look, we know we haven't been as consistent in our play and our performances as we expect to be and as we want to be. And I felt at this point in time a change in the leadership was probably the right thing to do.
Morgan, Mike Lunt, WLFI, you mentioned the fans. Was there any kind of a factor involved in your decision regarding the attendance at Ross H. Stadium in recent season?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, we've lost a third of the fan base. And we've gone from about 54,000 paid attendance in 2007-8 to about 37,000 this past year in paid attendance. And you know, this is you know, the hard thing is I talked to the student athletes today. You know, the coaches have been through this. It's not an easy occupation that these gentlemen are involved in. And I explained to the young men, I mean, this is part of it's not their fault. They didn't do anything wrong. They certainly gave it their all, and I'm just delighted the way they ended the season. But, you know, we can't do what we need to do resource-wise with losing a third of the fan base. And, you know, everybody has all kinds of ideas and rationale and what we can do. But at the end of the day, obviously, we've got some work to do to both thank the people who've been with us and stayed with us, but also to encourage those who jumped off the boat to get back in.
Morgan, can you just talk about what involvement President-elect Daniels will have in this process, and have you consulted with him at all?
No, I have not. The acting president of the university is Tim Sands, so that's my boss. Now, Tim may have talked to Governor Daniels, but I don't envision Governor Daniels taking an active role in this. The board of trustees and certainly President Sands have been involved and will be involved.
Morgan, how will you go about the search? Will you form a search committee? Will you use a search firm?
Well, I was thinking maybe all of you would help me, because by tomorrow morning, there'll be candidates all over the internet. No, we'll, huh?
They're already up.
Okay. No, you know, part of this job is you should always have kind of an idea of where the marketplace is with coaching talent. Because when these kinds of circumstances occur, you don't have much time. So you're always in the situation of trying to understand, you know, where the candidates are and what would be the best fit. My reference to the cradle of quarterbacks was not just a trite saying. We are an offensive-minded program. That's where we've made our mark over the years, and I don't see that us changing. And we're certainly not going to move into a coach who has a dramatically different scheme, because we built this team to play a certain kind of football. And we've seen other institutions who made a coaching change, and then they changed their style of play, and it took 2 or 3 years to adjust. We're not going to do that. We've got talent in this program. We know we have talent in this program. We want it to be nurtured. I am going to, you know, there are an awful lot of people who have advice, but there's 3 people in particular that I think I've told the parents of all the student athletes who got a letter from me personally this afternoon electronically, that 3 people are going to have served and will continue to serve as advisors. Ryan Grigson with the Colts, Rick Smith with the Houston Texans, and Bill Pulliam. All 3, I think, have a good feel for what the football world, both at the collegiate and the professional level, are, and they're they're helping provide that football screen for the search process.
Use a search firm.
No.
Hello. Just in terms of monetarily, what are you looking at? I mean, obviously there have been
What
reports
do you-
out there with the coaches' salaries and things of that nature. Are you?
Let me put it this way to you, Stacy. We're prepared to compete. And we know what the Big Ten, and we know what nationally you gotta do to compete. And we're prepared to do that.
This question is for Patrick, and Patrick, this is not your first coaching job, but just, I guess it's a question from a fan's perspective. Just, you know, you watched your boss lose his job, and you've been in the coaching profession. Just, if you had to explain to a fan or fans how hard that is, you know, on a coach and their family, how would you describe that?
It's traumatic. You know, if you have a family and you create friendships in the community and your kids have friends at school, and it's the nature of the beast, but then you have to take them and you have to say, hey, you know, daddy's gotta find a new job. And you may not know where you end up. You know, you may end up in a different part of the country. Just from my personal experience, I've had, I think, 10 different jobs, and I've been East Coast, West Coast, North, South, and I thank God that my wife has been very supportive, and she moves with me, because it takes a very special family structure and a very special wife to put up with this type of constant stress and constant movement. And we know that when we get into the profession, but it's never really about the coaches, it's about their families, and sometimes we really do a disjustice to them because their life lessons and their learning process sometimes are stunted because we move them around so much.
Other questions here, Mike?
So just assume we're all candidates here, how would you sell Purdue to us and sell Purdue to potential candidates out there? What do you believe the strengths of this program that can attract a high-level coach?
Well, I think Purdue University is a brand in and of itself. And I think it's something that Danny and staff have done a good job. I think Joe Tiller and his staff did a good job. We play an offensive brand of football. We have a strong representation in the National Football League of former players. Our graduation academic performance of the young men is good and getting better. And I think the caliber of the kids that we turn out of this program, whether they play professional sports or not, are a testimony to themselves. I'm excited to have a new president that'll be joining us. I think he likes the fact that we're self-supporting. He likes the fact that they take real courses. And he likes the fact that we have student athletes who socially, for the most part, make very good choices. And fourthly, he likes to win. And I think that's always helpful. I have a supportive board. I think understands that football is strategic. It's certainly a game and represents a livelihood for the coaches, an opportunity for the student athletes to get a world-class education, and at the same time play at the very highest level, compete for a championship. I mean, I make no bones about it. We want to go back to Pasadena, and that's what it's about. And so we've got to put ourselves in a position to do that. And the infrastructure that's been built, I think, will be very attractive. We went through a situation back when Coach Coletto stepped down and Joe Tiller came in. And one of the reasons Joe told me he came is he says I could tell the cupboard wasn't bare. It's not going to take a long time for me to come and make an impact. And a lot of you were here. It didn't. I think a new coach coming in will have the same view. We have an excellent coaching staff. My hope is that new person will take a good hard look at the staff as they come in, and I think you've got some talent here that you can be successful at. Now, whether we'll have the same lightning in the bottle that occurred when Coach Tiller came in, I'm not promising that, but we're not that far off. I mean, we had a couple games this year. If Ohio State and Notre Dame had gone different, we'd be sitting here at 8-4 and probably have a little different view on life. Yes.
Morgan, if you go into the search thinking head coaching experience is a must, or what?
I think it's certainly a plus. I think it's very, very challenging for a coordinator at this level, not so much to handle the X and O's, Brian. I think they can do that. I think it's all the stuff that you have to do in the corner office that, to simulate at this level, it's hard. Now, it's not impossible. I mean, Wisconsin took Brett and raised him up there. Pat Fitzgerald, I think, when Randy Walker passed away, was bumped up. So it's not impossible, but it require a unique skill set. And if you had somebody who had prior head coaching experience, that would be a plus. I wouldn't say a must.
Kind of a follow-up to that, how important is it that they have ties to Purdue, or is that a factor?
You know, I think ties to Purdue are tiebreakers. They're not prerequisites.
Patrick, how does your role change now, and I guess what's your approach then over this next month?
My approach is to make sure that our student athletes, again, our students first, because they have finals coming up. So we have to continue the academic role that we play in their daily lives, and then to try to get them ready to play in a quality bowl game against a quality opponent to the best of their ability and at the highest level that we can get them to play. It's been a kind of a roller coaster for me, as we've talked before. I'm unfortunate because I was unfortunate to be put in the situation of being interim offensive coordinator. And now I get the unfortunate role of being an interim head coach. And so we're gonna do the best job possible. Our coaching staff is committed to these young men, and we're gonna do everything possible, like I said before, so that their bowl experience is gonna be very memorable.
Morgan, it's Mike Clef again. Is this one of the hardest decisions you made in your 10 years in AD?
Yes. I have great admiration for Danny Hope. I have great respect for what he's accomplished. I've been in a lot of trenches with him. Been to virtually every game with the man. I understand the highs and the lows. So when you have to make a decision like this, it's gut wrenching.
This is for Patrick. Are you still interim offensive coordinator too, or do you farm that out for the next month?
I'm interim everything right now. I'm interim offensive coordinator, interim academic advisor, interim head coach. So, like I said, we're gonna make sure that these young men continue on the path that Danny set them on.
You got a veteran coaching staff. I mean, this group, we're fortunate to have them.
And Patrick, just a little bit of follow-up. Did it help a little bit that you've had an increased role